As far as Canada goes, listen, my take is there's no doubt that Kenny Pickett missed people. So did Trubisky last year. But they were both asked to play in handcuffs, as was Ben. Everybody in this offense has been. That's probably coming from the head coach, honestly. Well, I don't know why that would be the case with Ben from a couple years ago. And the fact is, when he shrugged off Canada and Tomlin, he played better. The question for me, strictly as it pertains to this firing, if Kenny had played better, would it have made Canada look better? Sure. But was this ever did it ever look to people who played the game, most of the ones you read and hear from and things like that, did it ever look like a sophisticated, explosive NFL offense that anyone admired in its design?
No.
Would it have gotten Matt Canada an interview anywhere else? I would argue no. He wasn't really that coveted when the Steelers brought him in. And like many of Mike Tomlin's assistants, if you put him on the open market right now, I don't think one team would call him. Just like Randy Fichtner, just like Keith Butler.
I agree.
I don't think one team would, because we heard things. This is Dan Orlovsky yesterday. Let's take a listen, Folsey.
The fact that we don't get the ball to the best player on our offense in a gotta-have-it situation, go look at what Cleveland did. In the very same situation, they got the ball back. They were like, hey, Amari Cooper, you take it. And they go and win the game. I think that the Steelers, they don't run an offense. They just call plays. There's no way that you watch that game and sit there and say they're trying to win the game. They're trying to win the game. Kenny Pickett, I like Greeny, when he was drafted, I was like, oh, he's fine. Like, he's a good player. I thought he would play better off of the preseason, but I don't know if he's getting an opportunity to play. I think their offense is as stale and boring and outdated and predictable, and every bad analogy you can make is their offense.
Oh, my God.
Doesn't leave much room for misinterpretation, does it?
Stale, boring, outdated, predictable. They don't run an offense. They just run plays. And I think this is the important thing, Ron. Let's go find out about Kenny Pickett. I think we're all starting to form opinions because there are things that you can look at independent of the coordinator. But this needed to happen for the Steelers, for everyone else, to get a look at Kenny Pickett in an offense where there aren't the handcuffs on. The big problem there is Mike Tomlin's still the coach, right?
Yeah, he's still the coach. And the philosophy starts from him.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to defend Matt Canada in any way, but if Tomlin tells him call the game a certain way, he's got to answer to your boss, right?
If I was a lawyer defending Matt Canada today, can you imagine me as a lawyer, Folsey? What do you think I get on the bar exam?
You'd be a great, well, you'd flunk any kind of a test, but you'd be a great one because of your street smarts. Street cred. Let me just say one other thing about Canada. Would anybody say they have a good offense? If Pickett hits half of those open guys, he's not fired today. I believe that. And now at the end of the year, would he be? Yeah. Would anybody say that the offense is good? No. But I don't think he'd have been fired if Pickett hits a few more plays.
How many more points do they score? They average 16-6. Is their average 18-6? 2 more a game if Pickett hit? I mean, I think with the Pickett thing, everybody isolates a play like Deontay the other day. I think those plays happen with every quarterback in the league misses open receivers. And then we start to extrapolate that. You like that word, Ron? Into, oh, my God, there's the Canada offense is fine. There's open receivers all over the place, and Kenny just misses them. I'm not willing to go there. I mean, they'd be marginally better if Kenny had hit some open receivers, I think. Marginally. And he might not have been fired. I would agree with that because they might have one more win.
Right. And then they'd really be in good spot.
But that doesn't take away the idea.
No, I mean, what Orlovsky said was right on. I mean, it is.
And it's not just Kenny. That's the point here.
Right.
This is the third quarterback the offense has stunk under.
Right. Yeah, but I think we can agree that Ben was at the end.
Right.
And Trubisky really wasn't in demand anywhere and wasn't that good when he came in here.
Right.
So who has he had to work with at quarterback?
Well, as
now,
I
Ben
was saying,
still was really good. I mean, I think Ben was good his last year, but he wasn't his best.
No. As I was saying there, if I was a lawyer defending Matt Canada today, that would be my defense. I know my client was guilty, but a lot of lawyers know that. The question is, what's the best defense of this man?
How am I going to get his ass free here?
And I would go in front of the jury and say, are you kidding me? Let's show some Ben Roethlisberger highlights from his final year. He had to work with a late-stage Roethlisberger, Mitch Trubisky, who's failed everywhere, and Kenny Pickett, who stinks. That's what I would say.
Right.
And then I would say, and more to the point, he was constrained under a head coach whose idea of the ultimate football game would be a 1-0 win if only you could get 1 point at a time. Having said all that, he's guilty. But that would be my defense.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's a reasonable argument. But this still, in my opinion, and as yours, it was a move that had to be made.
Absolutely. And if we sat down with every great coach there's ever been and watched tape of the Steelers' offense under Matt Canada, I fully believe they would say, where did they get this guy? That's what I think.
I mean,
but you know what? I'll be the devil's advocate. I agree totally. You think those same coaches? Why did they draft this quarterback in the first round?
Probably. But not everything
both.
Is right. But
Both.
let's deal with Canada. Yes, probably Pickett. Although Ben Roethlisberger is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and he was sold on Pickett last year. But yeah, probably right now. But I'm just talking. Let's give Pickett 45 games.
I hear you.
But you're probably right. If Kenny Pickett went on the open market, not a single team would pick him up as their starting quarterback.
Or give up much to get him.
Yeah, nothing to get him because he wouldn't be a starting quarterback.
We'll see how it turns out.
And none of them would pick up Matt Canada. This was a joke hire. It's embarrassing for Mike Tomlin. He might be the worst coordinator in NFL history, and his tenure here was a disaster, a complete and utter disaster.
Utter disaster. Not just a disaster.
The Steelers don't run an offense. They just call plays. I sit here and say they're not trying to win the game.
You play
well,
to
that's
win
the way
the game.
For 3 quarters, they play not to lose the game and then get it to the fourth quarter.
Now, here's the counter defense if I was arguing against Matt Canada. Every single statistic that is out there, the fact that Ben was still pretty good in his final year, but here's the most damning one of all. Show me when Matt Canada was a really good coordinator at any point in his life. Show me. Oh, there's that year at Pitt. Okay.
1 year at Pitt.
Anything else?
That's it. No NFL experience.
It was a ridiculous hire, and it was Mike Tomlin's biggest mistake.
No NFL experience.
And you can go through the long list of all of those stats. I mean, we've read them off over the last few months. The not getting 400 yards in a game, the being outgained all the time, all of those things.
And regardless of whether Pickett is any good, they were unbelievably derelict of duty to hand him this guy. I wrote the other day, this would be like hiring Dennis Rodman as your babysitter, Ron.
Why would he be bad? He'd be good. He'd teach the kid something about life.
He would. That's true.
He would teach the kid about life in the real world.
They have mangled this whole post-Ben situation from day one. And you're right, up to and possibly including the quarterback. But we'll give Tomlin an extension. And the national media will tell us that he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. And
they make the playoffs now. You'll get even more of that.
Of course.
Because, he had his share of injuries, and he had the good sense to fire his coordinator in the middle of the season.
Right.
And look how it turned out.
Oh,
they
believe
still
me.
made the playoffs.
Believe me, that's all coming.
If they make the playoffs, that's absolutely coming. Or even if they go 9-8 and keep that streak alive.
Absolutely.
Look
that's
how
coming.
He wins games.
Yes. That is absolutely ahead for us. You know, I predicted it last year when they were in the dumps. Look at the schedule. This is going to wind up like it always does. And it's a team that gets outscored by its opponents every single year.